welcome back to Cheri the Chef. It is a few days before Thanksgiving, so I want to come on. I want to show you how to make a hopefully fall off the bone turkey. So last year was the first time I had made a turkey and it was successful. It fell off the bone. We did it low and slow. We did it in the oven. So we're going to do the same thing this year. I'm just going to tweak it just a little bit. Now the first thing you want to do is make sure you've got your turkey thawed out well in advance. And I wouldn't suggest doing anything bigger than a 20-pound turkey. If you need more meat than that, you may want to consider getting 2 birds. So I've got about a 15-pound turkey here. So the next thing I'm going to do is move this over to the sink. I've got a honeysuckle white here. Next thing I'm going to do is move it over to the sink. We're going to give it a rinse and we're going to clean out the inside. All right, so I've got my bird moved over to the sink and we've got our little clip here that we've pulled the legs out of so that we can get to the inside. And we want to reach in and take out whatever's in here. And I don't even know what's in here, to be honest with you, because I know how to make stuff taste good, but I don't know what, what is on the inside of a turkey. I know this is in here you have to take out. What is this?
Pecker.
It is not. What is it? Is that his neck?
His neck.
Ooh. But I thought there, no. I thought there was stuff in here. I don't see anything else.
No, there's not.
I thought there's like a bag.
A bag? Should be.
Oh.
Dig it down in there and find it.
I am. I don't.
It shortens the bag.
Huh?
Well, that's it.
That's all I see in there. But I don't. You want to save this to make gravy with. You want to save that. I don't see anything else in this turkey. Wow. I'm just going to double check.
Yeah, get in there.
I think I got ripped off. And there's supposed to be like gizzards or something in here.
So.
Again, I don't know much about turkeys. So, anyway, I'm just going to give my turkey a quick rinse. And I think some people used to wash their turkeys. I don't think that that's necessary. And you're baking it anyway. And I don't like to splash all the bird juices around the kitchen anyway. All right. I'm going to rinse out the inside too real quick. It's kind of awkward to get a hold of.
Put your fingers in its neck there. There you go.
So, all right. So now that I've got him all cleaned out and rinsed, I'm going to move this over to this side of the sink. I'm going to go ahead and transfer him over to my pan. Okay, now that we've got our bird all cleaned out and rinsed, and I did end up finding the rest of the innards, I guess you would call them. They were on the other end of the bird. Anyway, I've got him. I've kind of patted it dry with a few paper towels, and I've set it aside. The next thing I want to do is start preparing the things that I want to put in and around the bird to flavor it. So I've got a couple of onions here, and we're not going to get real picky with these. We're kind of just going to quarter them. So let's get our skin off. And I probably could have did some of this prep work before I came on here, but all right. So a couple of onions. And we're going to do it a little bit different this year. Last year I did like your traditional seasonings. I did like sage and rosemary, some thyme and all that good stuff. This year we're going to do like a Cajun bird. And I'll show you what we're going to do for that here in a second. So again, I'm just kind of roughly chopping. Doesn't have to be diced or anything. And I'm going to toss all of this into a bowl. You can cut it however you like. My knife skills are not the best. But I get the job done. That's all that matters. All right, so a couple of onions. Whoops. Drop a bit in the floor. All right, so you guys can see what I'm doing there. Then I've got a couple of apples here that I've already rinsed. Or washed, I should say. And I'm just going to leave the skins on them. I don't actually plan to eat the apples. I'm just putting them in there for flavor. I'll cut it up just a little bit better than that. All right, another apple. And I've got a couple of ribs of celery. I'm just going to Got 3 things of celery here. Just going to roughly chop that. Toss those in the bowl. And then I've got a little bit of carrot we're going to do the same thing with. I'm going to toss in a little bit of lemon. I'm just going to cut these into a wedge. And I'm going to sprinkle the juice over the top, and then I'm just going to toss the lemons in and leave them in there. All right, so one other thing I'm going to do a little bit different this year is, like I said, last year we did rosemary, sage, thyme, that sort of thing. This year I want to do like a Cajun. So typically I'd mix together my own kind of seasonings, but because, Devin, come here. But because we have so much stuff to cook on Thanksgiving anyway, I thought, why not make it easy? And I found this at Aldi's. It's kicked up chicken, so it's still poultry. And I'm just going to toss a little bit of that in there. And then I'm going to set this aside. This is what we're going to stuff on the inside of our bird. Okay, so the next thing I did was took a cup of real butter, and I've got it at room temperature, so I just went ahead and, got it softened up just a little bit. And then I'm going to take about half of this container here, maybe more like a quarter of it. We're going to mix it in with that butter. Give it a nice stir. And then we're going to grab our turkey, and I've already patted him nice and dry. So one of the things that we're going to do a little bit different, instead of cooking our turkey with the breast side up, we're actually going to cook our turkey breast side down. And that way it doesn't overcook, the breast doesn't overcook, and as the juices run down, it's going to help moisturize the breast. So the next thing I want to do is we want to slowly, carefully get our fingers underneath here, and we're just loosening up the skin from the meat itself. And you want to be very, very careful doing this so that you don't tear it. So again, I'm just working my fingers under here, separating the skin from the meat. All right, so once we've got our skin separated from our meat, we're going to take some of this butter and we're going to place it in between the skin and the meat itself. So this is going to give it a lot of flavor, and it's going to help keep it nice and moist. And then we're just going to rub the outside. Make sure he's got nice coating of butter on the outside as well. Oh, and we want to take our clip out of there, but when I get done doing all this, we're actually going to put it in a roasting bag. So that's something, last year I tinted it with aluminum foil, and this year, like I said, I'm going to use a roasting bag. So that's going to be a little bit different. All right, so we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so we're just doing the same thing on the other side. We're just using our fingers to get under there and gently loosen that skin from the meat so that we can get in there and add a little bit of butter. making sure he is nice and moisturized. All right, let me flip my pan around. So we're going to put some under here. Get some on the other side. And then we're going to take the rest of the butter and make sure he's got a nice, good coating on him. Oh, the seasoning smells so good. I'm glad I found that today because it really did save me some time of mixing up my own seasonings. All right, I've got my bird nice and rubbed down. I'm going to go ahead and put him in a bag and put him back in the pan, and then we can get him stuffed and add some of the vegetables. All right, so I went ahead and cleaned my pan, transferred my turkey over into one of our Reynolds oven-sized bags. It's a turkey size that I bought. It comes 2 to a package. So I went ahead and put him in here, which I would have done prior, but I wanted you guys to see what I was actually doing with the skin. So now I'm just going to take... Actually, I'm going to take a half a stick of butter. I had a half a stick left in the fridge, and I thought I'm going to put that in there and make it really nice and moist. And then I'm going to take about, probably about half of this filling that we chopped up a little bit ago, and I'm just going to stuff it right down on the inside here. All right. And then the rest of this, I'm just going to toss right over the top and let it fall down to the sides. All right. I'm going to give my hands a quick rinse, a quick wash, I should say. And then I have got a bottle of cider. So it's an apple cider, and I'm just pouring it right over the top. And I've also got a little bit of apple juice that I'm going to add in here. So if you wanted to use just plain apple juice or regular apple cider that's not alcoholic. And then we are going to grab our little tie. We're going to tie up our bird. Got a little bit of butter on my fingers. Let's hope I can get this through there. All right. One other thing I want to do is just cut just a couple of tiny little holes just to let some of that steam out. And the nice thing about doing this in the bag is not only is it going to be like braising and it's going to keep it really nice and moist, but it's also going to be minimal cleanup. All right, so what I want to do now is put this in the oven at 400 degrees, and we want to leave it in there for, roughly 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to turn it down to 275, and we're going to cook this for 7 to 10 hours. It's going to depend on a really low temperature like that. It's going to be about 20 minutes for every pound of turkey, so it's really just going to depend on the size. So I'm going to go ahead and toss this in the oven. And I'll see you back as soon as the turkey's done, and hopefully it'll fall off the bone. Okay, our turkey just came out of the oven, and our little, let's call it a thumbtack, that lets us know the turkey is done, has popped up. But I want to go ahead and double check it just to be on the safe side. So I've got my little handy dandy Pampered Chef digital thermometer here, and we just want to make sure it's 165 at the thickest part of the meat. So I'm just going to poke through the bag, and yes. This thing reads really, really quick. So it is 170. Hopefully we haven't overcooked it. And I wanted to poke it through the bag just in case it wasn't done. I needed to stick it back in. It was still going to be in the bag. So we're going to cut that. Make sure I don't get any of that in there. And this is the first time I've used one of these bags. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. Well, I got my skin sticking a little bit there. And the skin even roasted up nicely, even through the bag. Oh, it smells so good. I made this turkey up a little bit in advance so I could show you guys how I did it. And also because I'm probably going to split this up and I'm going to serve part of it in maybe a barbecue sauce and part of it in the gravy. So I'm the only one home today, but I may have to eat this by myself. So I just want to see. Yes, this is exactly what we wanted. Hopefully you guys can see here. Here we go. It is just falling off the bone. Even look, there's no need to carve this turkey whatsoever. It's just coming right off the bone. Look at that. That is exactly how you want it. And look how moist it is. Isn't that beautiful? So this is going to be great. Like I said, we're going to put this in some gravy. I think I'm going to make like 2 crock pots. One that has the barbecue, because we did do a Cajun seasoning on this. And then the other one is going to have the gravy. If I don't eat some of this first, I am tempted to try a little bite. You really get all the flavors that we put in there of that seasoning from yesterday. That is so good. And growing up, I never really cared for Thanksgiving. I didn't care for turkey or stuffing. All I wanted was cheesecake and mashed potatoes. Which reminds me, I'm going to show you guys how to make my grandma's super fluffy, it's really light and fluffy cheesecake that you make with Milnot. I don't see a lot of people make it, and I really love it because it's so different from New York cheesecake. Anyway, back to the turkey. If we had had turkey like this growing up, I may have really liked it because this is absolutely delicious. So I hope you guys try this because, again, it completely falls off the bone. It's so easy. You don't have to carve it, and it's really, really moist. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.